Hello and welcome to another entry of the Diary of an Early Years Educator. Happy Monday, everybody. So we're doing this segment to say Happy Monday. I'm used to doing that with Ben and then he gets all confused. But happy Monday. I hope you had a lovely week last week and a lovely weekend. What I want to talk about today is actually linked to something that happened last week. So this week as I'm filming, but last week for you as you're listening to it. But before I dive into it, I'm going to do my weekly reflections. So my what's gone well, what can I improve on, and what is definitely staying in the previous week. I hope you're enjoying these. I hope it's making you reflect on your week as well. It doesn't have to be just work. It doesn't have to be just early years related. This can be for your entire lives. It's just a little bit of a wellbeing check-in for yourself. You can do it with your team, whatever it looks like. So yeah, it's just a nice little reflection. So my what's gone well is I've actually felt really positive all week, pretty much. Like I've had my moments where things have been frustrating or not gone my way, but in general, I feel like I've been really positive all week. So that for me is really nice. I've really enjoyed that aspect of my week. Something that I can improve on, I feel like I need to be more confident with what I want to do and the decisions that I make. I need to have more confidence and more belief in myself. And that's something I struggle with. Because even like this podcast, I toyed with the idea for doing a solo podcast for so long and never even mentioned it to Ben. And I just think I need to be a little more confident with what I'm doing and what I want to do and how I want to do things, and believing in the decisions I make. So that's my improve on. And then what is staying in the previous week? It's the weather. It's the rain. I don't want any more rain this week. Even with the rain last week, I was still very positive, but I'm fed up of it. I don't like walking the dogs in the rain. I don't like feeling soggy. If you're watching this on the YouTube feed, you can see how crazy my hair is. I only washed it yesterday and it's all crazy because of the rain. So that is what I would like to stay in the previous week. We are not entertaining it anymore, even though I have just dug out all my rain stuff and just hoping to be more prepared, maybe, is what I need to be. Leaving behind is being less prepared in the rain. This week's question was actually off the back of mine and Ben's podcast last week of Little Minds, Big Ideas, which comes out every Wednesday now. There's been a scheduling change. And that was about positive workplace culture. So we asked, how do you create a positive workplace culture? What makes you feel good in your workplace culture and things like that? And there was three main things that kind of popped up. I've written them down. So it's development, strong and confident leaders, and people who lead by example. They help to create a positive culture. And we dove into that conversation quite lengthy. We actually ended up doing it twice because our audio didn't record the first time. And it was so frustrating. But those, we dive into it a lot. So if you want to listen to our chat on workplace cultures, just head back and listen to last week's episode of Little Minds, Big Ideas. And in terms of development, if it's staff development you're after, you know what I'm going to say. Head to www.theearlyyearsnetwork.co.uk. How silly. I just didn't even tell you what it was. You know what I'm going to say. It's there for your needs. It's there for learning, training and development for early years staff, for anybody that works with young children. It's there. Have a look. I am filming 2 more strategy videos this week, so they'll be up soon. So it's ever changing and ever uploading new content. So let us know what you want to see and head over and have a look. It's so cheap. £4.99 a month. So good to invest in a little bit more of yourself or invest in your team. So yeah, have a look over there. But workplace culture is so important, a positive culture. Not all cultures can be positive, and it's a really sad place to be working when things aren't overly nice. So yeah, we talked a lot in depth about that. So if you want to go ahead and listen to that, it's last week's Little Minds, Big Ideas. But this week, I wanted to talk about something based on an event that happened in and around me last week. So I went to a education conference with one of my colleagues, and because majority of my week, if I'm in the office, I don't wear the polo shirts and fleeces that I would wear if I was in numbers in the nursery. I'm not going to wear my own clothes when I'm in the nursery. It's not practical. I'm in the uniform with the teams it's all the same. But in the office, I tend to wear office wear. So at this conference, I had my office wear on, and I think I've actually skipped over completely what I want to talk about. I don't want to just talk about clothing. I want to talk about professionalism, and are we seen as educational professionals because of what happened at this conference? Now, this conference was called the Education Conference, and early years providers were invited, primary schools, secondary schools, colleges, etc., etc. Everyone from education was invited. So I went along with my colleague, and like I said, I was in my office wear. When you walk in the room, the people that work in early years stick out like sore thumbs, because majority were in polos and fleeces, because I'm assuming have either been into the nurseries in the morning or will be returning to the nurseries after work. So you can see who those people are. However, everybody else who works in education men are wearing suits, women are wearing office wear. So for me already, there's a divide in the room. Doesn't matter what the person's wearing, that's beside the point. But when me and my colleague walked in, I would have assumed that people would guess that we were from a school because of what we were wearing. And there's my first point. When we're in setting and we are in with the children, we get a lot messier than teachers do. We are hands-on, we are on the floor, we're up and down. We should be in trainers and comfortable trousers and our polo tops, because they are going to be covered in snot before 9 o'clock. There's no doubt about it. So there's the first part of professionalism that I think people look down on us for, is because of what we're wearing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is just something that has cropped into my head on reflection of this conference. If I was taking my managers who do wear uniform in their settings, I would have suggested to them to wear smart, casual outfits to fit in with the word conference, I suppose. Now, I don't know if that's just me being on one side of the argument, wanting us to be seen as professionals in that aspect, or am I just hiding away from the fact that people think that the uniforms are not professional? I'm not sure, but I would have suggested smart casual because we were going to a conference. So let me know what you think. Uniforms in early years are essential. I 100% agree. But there is ways of making people look smart even with those uniforms. I don't think wearing jeans with them makes them look smart. It's also not going to be comfortable up and down. But I think that is one aspect where people don't view us as professionals in the industry. So if you were to be going on an outing representing your setting with other professionals in education, what would you wear? Let me know. Am I judging too harshly on our industry? Am I trying to make us seen as professionals? Even though we are professionals, it shouldn't matter what we're wearing. That could be me. That could be me that's sat here thinking, God, I don't want us to be judged for it, when actually it should be other people that shouldn't take that into their prejudice of early years. I don't know. That was the first thing that came into my head about, are we seen as professionals? The other thing is how other professionals view us. Now, it was very clear during this conference that somebody giving a presentation claimed they thought it was only schools, but the conference was called the Education Conference. So it should be all of education. And we were just not included in any of the proposals. There was no mention of early years. It's kind of like it was a given afterwards. So everyone who was there representing early years kind of clubbed together on one table to wait to talk to the person who was giving the presentation. And the way that others viewed this, I found really negative. It was as if we were not included in education. It was as if we were early years with a bit before. And that's something that really grinds on me. And I don't know why I still get so cross and disheartened by it, because it's something that's been going on forever, really. And I guess it's something that I don't know about anyone else who's been in the industry for a long time, but you feel like you're shouting at an empty space who isn't listening, because we are part of education. We know we are a fundamental part of education, and we are crucial to the development of young children, and everything that we do sets them up for that next stage of school, and everything that they do in primary school sets them up for secondary school, and everything in secondary school should set them up for future learning and adulthood. And it's as if before they get to primary school, everyone kind of forgets. But we are so much more than what others see us as. And I don't know if that's a lack of understanding of what we do or a lack of knowledge on the importance of what we do. But even the teachers who we were sat with when early years wasn't mentioned, they did say, and they kind of apologise that wasn't actually even on my radar. And it wouldn't be. It's not your area. But you do have reception classes who are still early years. So it should be a priority, because early years continues into primary. It continues in reception. So why is it not taken more seriously by the education system as a whole? I don't know. The lack of understanding of what we do, there's always the naive comments of, oh, you just play. You just play all the time. And I did a social media video on this the other day to kind of say, don't take offense to it. Don't let that get you down. Don't let it bother you that nobody understands, because the people that get it. And we know how hard it is, and we appreciate the work that's done, and we know the struggles, but we know the rewards as well. And we can work together to make it a positive place to be. And some people said they do get offended because they do work so hard, and I fully understand that. I fully do. But I think we need to focus on promoting the positive sides of it. And that is another reason maybe that we are not seen as education professionals by others in the industry. It's because a lot of people relate early years to the people that moan. And that, unfortunately, is the reality. Teachers moan. Teachers moan a lot, like they do. And I see teachers on social media who moan about teaching too. So it's not just us. But we as an industry do tend to be quite negative. We're quite negative about our surroundings. But then I do think that feeds into the way we're viewed. If people respected what we did and we felt a little bit more empowered by others in the education sector, maybe we wouldn't feel so downhearted about it. And this is not a dig at us in the industry. I'm in the industry. Like, I am one of those people that can be quite negative. And I got to the point at this conference where I just said to my colleague, like, there's no point, we're just going around in circles here. Like, I get disheartened about it, and I do moan that we're not seen. And this is coming across really ranty and negatively. And I don't mean it to be, because I'm saying we are always moaning, ironically. But I know that, and I can recognize that. But I don't want it to be that. I want to be the positive voice of early years, and I want to shine our light. But sometimes, and I'm sure other people can relate to this, it weighs heavy. It weighs really heavy to be positive about something that isn't appreciated in the wider education sector. And there's all this work going into the Shaping Us campaign that the Princess is doing, that Catherine's doing. I'm just struggling to see the purpose of it. I understand that they're trying to promote early childhood development, but I don't think I've seen them talk to anybody real from the industry. And that upsets me. And there's this talk of all the new school-based nurseries that me and Ben are going to discuss on Little Minds Big Ideas as part of our In the News section this week. And he doesn't actually know that yet. So you found out probably before Ben has. And we'll discuss that, and I will throw my 2 pence in the pot for that as well. And I am so opinionated about early years, probably obnoxiously opinionated, but I'm so passionate about it. And at this conference, I ran into my year 6 teacher, who is still a head teacher, and he asked me if I was enjoying what I'm doing. And I told him I'm loving it. I absolutely love what I do. I'm head over heels in love with early years. I love what it does. I love what we promote. I love how we make a difference. I don't love how others view us. Because even as a head teacher, he says that he's never been someone who has that passion towards early years. And when I spoke to Hayley in our first season of Little Minds, Big Ideas, she said that her head teacher does offset inspections for schools and will ask her what he should be looking at in the early years department. And that's frustrating for me, because if you are in a school that has an early years provision, which they will because it's reception, doesn't have to be the nursery class, preschool, whatever it is, they should know and they should understand, even more so if you are the leadership. And that's where the frustration lies for me, because it's in every school provision and we're still being the bottom of the pegging line. And it's tough. It's a hard pill to swallow when you love it so much. I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by people that understand my passion. I'm surrounded by people who want to also push the industry forward. And the girls that I work with and even our maintenance team are passionate about making a difference for these children's lives. It's just frustrating when you go to a wider conference and that isn't echoed. And I didn't want to come on and slag it all off, because the conference was interesting. It was great to link with other professionals. It was great to have conversations with people who work in schools. I'm not doubting what they do for a second. I've got the utmost respect for teachers and people that work in schools. I just don't always feel like that respect is mirrored. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I didn't want this to be ranty. I don't want it to come across as negative, and I really, really hope it hasn't. But I wanted to use this podcast as a physical diary entry, and I wanted it to be done in real time, and I wanted it to be things that I am going to hopefully listen back to and remember these moments. So let me know what you think. I've rambled on now for nearly 20 minutes about this, and I don't know. Am I going crazy? If you've made it to the end of this, am I going mad? Is it just me that feels that way? Does anybody else feel that way? I think I might do this for Friday's episode as my question, and I'll put it on Instagram about, do we think that early years staff are viewed as education professionals in the same way that others are? And let's see what comes from it. Let's see what happens. I'm excited to get this conversation started. And hopefully by Friday, I will give you some more answers on what people say. Maybe I'm going mad. Who knows? But that is this week's diary entry. It's been another ranty one, and I'm so sorry. But you will be able to listen to myself and Ben talk about these schools, nurseries, the budget that's just been sort of released for that on Wednesday's episode of Little Minds, Big Ideas. Because remember, it's not gone anywhere. We're still there on a Wednesday morning. You just get a new diary entry every Monday and every Friday. So there is loads of Early Years Network content for you to be getting your teeth into, using it as CPD, because having these conversations is professional development. It is promoting what you do, and it's learning something different. So it's learning in new ways. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for listening to me chat to myself, because everyone in the room I'm sat in agrees, obviously. So yeah, thank you for listening. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I'm really looking forward to reading comments and social media messages on this one. And if you don't follow us on social media, it is just the Early Years Network. So drop us a message. It always makes our day to hear from people. And I will speak to you again for another diary entry of an Early Years Educator on Friday. Have a fabulous week. Do your reflection, and I will see you on Friday. Bye.